So far, we have covered several crucial topics related to the creation of a Telegram bot. We started by successfully creating a Telegram bot and then connecting it to our Node.js application. We then delved into the OCR API to parse receipts and finally set up our Firestore database in Firebase. If you require any assistance with these topics, please refer to the links provided in the description. Now let's put all these pieces together and build our final bot. First, we will learn how to upload a receipt from our Telegram bot and obtain its publicly accessible URL. To achieve this, let's go to our Telegram file and we will remove the else condition that sends the same message back to the user. Next, we need to call a new API from Telegram that provides details about the files or attachments we upload. We will create a method called getFile, which takes the file ID as an argument. Then, using our Axios instance, we will call the getFile method from Telegram by passing the file ID, which is the file we want to retrieve information for. In the handle message method, after checking the basic commands, we will add a condition that checks if the message object has a photos array, and if the photo's length is not equal to 0. We will then select the last photo in that photo array, as we will see why shortly. For now, we will obtain the file ID for the last photo and pass it to the getFile method we created earlier. In the result of that method, we will get the file name under file to path. This is how we can create a publicly accessible URL for this file: api.telegram.org file.bot, followed by the bot token and the file name which we retrieved from the getFile method. We will then pass this URL to the process the receipt function we created earlier, which takes the receipt photo URL and passes the data out of it. For now, we will log this data and debug the code to see what's happening. However, we encountered a problem where the condition is not being executed when we send a photo. This is because we are not sending any message text with the photo. To resolve this, we will check if there is no message text and no photo, and then only return from the function. To test the functionality, we uploaded a receipt image to our Telegram bot. We can see that the message object contains a photo array with 4 elements, each with different sizes. Photos are sorted from lowest resolution to highest resolution. We need the best quality image to pass it correctly, which is why we chose the last photo in the set. We then obtained the file ID of the image we uploaded and sent it to the getFile method to obtain more information. The getFile method returned data, and under the file path, we found the name of our file. Finally, the URL of our publicly accessible receipt was created, and we were able to access it in the browser. We passed this URL to the process the receipt method, which successfully processed the data, and we were able to see all the information about our receipt. Okay, let's go ahead and upload the data to our Firebase Firestore database. To do this, we'll need to call the method we created earlier, upload processed data, and pass in the data we want to upload. Before we test it out though, let's make sure to delete all the testing data inside our Firestore. Once that's done, we can upload a receipt in Telegram and see that the data is passed successfully. If we check our database, we should be able to see all the data stored with the ID as some testing ID, which we passed in from our method. However, let's change that to use the processed data reference number instead, since it's a unique value. Currently, we are not sending any acknowledgement back to our Telegram bot, so we will create a variable called final message to send, which will include strings to make our message look nice. We will then pass through every item on the receipt and take the item name and total value, appending the total value at the end before sending the message back to our bot. We will remove the upload call as we are already calling it inside our checks. To thoroughly test additional functionalities, I will upload some more receipts. It is worth noting that there are multiple records with different dates, some of which are from October and some from September. To better manage my finances, I would like to set a monthly budget and keep track of my daily expenses. To achieve this, I will create a function called getRemainingBudgetMessage inside our Firebase file. This function will return the remaining budget for the month in the form of a message string. To begin, I will define the monthly budget as €300. Next, I will create a method called getCurrentMonthTotal. This method will generate the current date object, retrieve the current year and month, and determine the first and last day of the current month. By identifying the transactions that occur between these two dates, we can calculate the total expenditure for the month. To accomplish this, I will call the getTheData method we previously created, passing in the first and last dates as parameters. In this method, we will adjust the where condition to filter data based on the bill date. Specifically, we want to retrieve data where the bill date is greater than the from date and less than the to date. We will then loop over the resulting data, summing the total of each receipt to calculate the current month's total expenditure. With this information, we can calculate the remaining budget for the month by subtracting the current month's total expenditure from the monthly budget. To ensure accuracy, we will round the final total to 1 decimal place. Finally, we will return the message string containing the remaining budget. To enable easy access to this information, we will create a new command called budget inside our Telegram file. Whenever this command is received, we will call the getRemainingBudget method, retrieve the message string and pass it back to our Telegram bot. Awesome! But we can do better. To make the message even more informative, we will create a variable called final message inside the getRemainingBudget method. This variable will append the remaining budget, the remaining days in the month, and the total expenditure for the current month. By doing this, we will be able to see a comprehensive summary of our finances for the month To determine the number of days left in the current month, we will create a function called getNumberOfDaysLeftInAMonth. This function will retrieve the current date object, determine the current month, year, and day, and calculate the total days in the current month. By subtracting the current day value from the total days, we will obtain the number of days left in the month. Awesome! It's great to see that we have successfully retrieved all the required information. However, we need to keep in mind that when we add this bot to any group, it won't have immediate access to all the messages by default. This bot will only listen to commands and will ignore any other messages. This means that if we were to upload any photos, the bot would not respond or take any action. To ensure that the bot can listen to all the messages in the group, we have the option to give it admin access in the permissions. However, it is not advisable to do so, as this would mean that our server would be invoked for every single message in the group, which could potentially cause a strain on our resources. Instead, we can upload a photo and include a specific command in the description, as any text that starts with a / is considered to be a command. This way, when we upload a photo with a command, the bot will recognize it and be able to process the command accordingly. To make our code even more robust, we can add an additional condition that checks for the presence of the command process before proceeding to process the photo. This will ensure that the bot only processes the photo when it is specifically instructed to do so. In the next tutorial, we will create a client-side React application to see all the transactions together and gain more insights. Thank you for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you in the next tutorial.